Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about the differentiating between the collective thoughts that run through our mind and then any new inputted thoughts that we are contributing into the stream of global consciousness. Um, I think the big thing is that the big difference in that is that usually when I refer to like the global consciousness, I almost refer to it almost like the ego mind. The because those tend to be recycled old thoughts, and I think most of those thoughts. Um, are, for the most part, just because of years and years of us living through our ego, they tend to be very ego-dominated thoughts. Um, and just looking at our history, you would have to see that we have a very violent history that is predominantly dominated by the ego. Power and fear tends to instill us to kind of um, compete against one another for things. And so that type of mentality um, can range quite a bit from a small scale children fighting over toys, mine, that type of thing, um, to much larger scales, you know, global global wars and things like that. Um, but it stems from these thoughts that have been carried over for, you know, probably millions of years and a stuff of however long that mankind has been thinking. Uh, that has been in there and just been adding to the global consciousness. Um, in that global consciousness, there will be higher levels. It's not that it is all bad. Um, there, if you look also in humanity, there are acts of kindness. There are inspiring people that have risen up, and those people tend to make some of the biggest changes in our society. When you think of like inspiring, people like a Gandhi, um, like a Mother Teresa, these type of people that they tend to inspire through their actions of generosity, peace, and they definitely come into the world with a different type of energy, and that energy does have a long-lasting effect. Definitely longer than what the ego can actually maintain. Any type of long-lasting change has usually stemmed from those type of inspired changes of in thinking. Um, so I would say, for the most part, uh, the way that you can differentiate the thoughts that are running through your head, whether they are stemming from conditioning, whether they're from the conditioning of your parents or your friends or even classmates, any people that you were interacting with, as you were growing up, you may have you've interacted with them in such a way that there's more communication going on between you than just the words that are coming out of your mouth. There is an unconscious sharing of these ideas. And again, this is something that you can really notice usually with smaller children. You know, as a parent, I notice this. You know, where sometimes these two kids will just look at each other and they don't really even spend too much time, and they usually will know right away whether they are compatible with each other and want to be friends or not. It usually doesn't take much time at all, and it usually happens well before they actually even communicate verbally. So there's this communication going on, and what from what I understand, it's just basically just a reading of the energy of their own being, and that energy is based upon these beliefs and thoughts that they are holding on to, you know, that in a sense make up their reality. So you have to have some type of belief, or if you had no belief, you really wouldn't be experiencing anything. So there are beliefs that you're holding on to that are beneficial to you. You know, whether or not they are coming from somebody else or not, you know, whether they're original beliefs or not, you know, it's not quite as important as to how it is constructing your reality there. But I would say for the most part, most original thoughts stem from the core of your being. Each individual person is unique and is contributing an original inspired view into the stream. The more present that you are and the more spontaneous, and it allows you to be more creative, and to be creative is to bring part of yourself into the world. And so anything that you can do that brings about spontaneity is something that is bringing something new into the world, something uniquely you. So those are generally they create over time. The spontaneity can create thoughts that are unique. This happens a lot with people that follow their passion, and they create something new, and then suddenly it becomes kind of norm in our culture. A lot of times, it's the easiest way to make the example of that is through technology, but it could be through also just a way of acting, or you know, something along those effects as well. But you know, you could say that, you know, somebody that follow their passion, like Steve Jobs, and they, you know, create, you know, like the iPad or something like that, and then somehow that over time, you know, became such a, you know, it becomes part of our culture, and then we don't even think about it anymore and stuff. That happens also with language. That happens, you know, with you know, different things like that, you know, that you know, things just kind of catch on, and then it spreads, and it becomes part of the culture. But it usually stems from an individual just being themselves, and you know, just bringing something out. So these things that are coming from our passion are usually the things that are uniquely us, and are the new thoughts. that we are creating. Always never planned. They are spontaneous, meaning they come from us, from the core of our being. Again, also, a lot of times these creative things will not be anything that is going to, for the most part, give us problems. Not these creative things in themselves. Um, uh, Now there may be resistance from other people if our inspired thoughts are a big change from patterns of behavior that have been established over time. You could have that, but you'll know that the thoughts that you're bringing out are the correct ones. So it should be very easy to distinguish, even though you may be receiving some resistance from other people, that these thoughts that are the way that you should be behaving, and you need to be true to yourself. That happens a lot of times, with again, people that are making big changes, Martin Luther King, things like that. They knew in the core of their being that what they were saying and stuff was correct. They were doing it in the right way. It's just it was such a big mind stream of it was so different, that people couldn't quite catch up. Especially in like Martin Luther King's um, example. They couldn't catch up quick enough uh, to make that change. But still, he made a significant change, over time, and so it was very important to bring that out anyway, even though there was some danger to him by doing that. Um, so that's, I would say, is the big difference and stuff. Thoughts that are generally going through your head are not going to be original thoughts for the most part, I would say. They tend to, those thoughts tend to be, again, recycled either from other people in your life, or again, through a global exchange of ideas and everything. They're old. They Again, depending on how they feel, many times they are negative. You'll also receive other things, in your mind. Sometimes you'll receive ideas that are actually messages from your higher self. Those are usually ideas that are things that are fun for you to do. And what those are just messages that are usually telling you, go do this fun thing, because it'll lead more to yourself. It helps you to follow your joy and follow your passion, because again, it is the excitement and passion that leads to more of yourself typically. So those will come through, but that's not usually the verbal thoughts. Verbal thoughts tend to be more of the recycled things and stuff, I would say. Usually when you get those thoughts, or at least I do anyway, when I receive those thoughts from my higher self and stuff, they tend to be more visual and something that I know, oh, okay, this is something that's going to be fun for us to do and stuff. And again, you could dismiss it, but something that you should follow. I hope that made sense, and had fun with this little mini series here. And anyway, thank you all for watching, and take care.